Okay, I'm going to try to do this video. Hopefully it'll be helpful to some people. And it's basically about double stops. And double stops in the context of harmonized chords. So we'll talk a little bit about shapes, just a couple of shapes, and definitely harmonized chords. So and the way double stops fit into them. There's lots of lessons on double stops, and there's double stops all over songs and music. I mean, there's so much. That's a double stop. I'm sure everybody knows hitting two strings at the same time is a double stop. So that part right there, double stop. Another double stop. So anyway, the double stops that I want to go over, again, based on harmonized chords. So we'll try to get right to this. So the harmonized chords in the major scale, in any key, the way it's easy to remember, but what you want to do is keep in mind that, let's say in the key of C, we have chords. If we take the chords and go from C all the way back up till we hit C again, we have a combination of major and minor chords, and actually on the 7 it'll be diminished. But if we keep it real simple, just thinking about what minor or major, what we have is the 1 chord, the 4, and the 5 are all major. Everything else is minor. Again, forgetting for a moment about diminished. So put it in context, it's pretty simple. So let's say in the key of C, okay, thinking about 1, 4, 5, right? It's important to remember that because most of us probably know that just thinking about songs. We're going to do a 1, 4, 5 blues, 12-bar blues, 1, 4, 5. So since it's already in most of our brains, to take it to the area of harmonized chords should be fairly simple. So what you remember is 1, 4, and 5 is major. Everything else is minor. All right, so let's see. All right, so if that's true, we've got C is major. D we're going to do minor. E is going to be minor. Right? F is going to be major because that's the 4. We just did 1, 2, 3. The 4 is your F. 5 is your G. 6 is your A, so we're going back to minor. The 7 we're going to keep minor, even though technically it's diminished. So B is going to be minor. And back to C. Right? So we'll do it again. Remember, 1, 4, 5 are major. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we'll go to C. I just played a little different bar chord there, but you get the idea. So, since it's so simple to remember, and the reason we're going to discount diminished is because in the context of double stops, all I'm going to be playing is 1 and a 3 out of every chord. So you guys should know that in any major chord triad, the major chord triad is the 1, 3, and 5. So since my double stops are all going to be thinking about 1s and 3s, and I don't care about the 5. That means that the diminished chord, that 7 chord, when we're doing harmonized, which in the key of C was, which one was that? That was B. So instead of B minor, that would be B minor diminished, or B diminished, I guess. Anyway, we don't care about that. So what we're going to do, so remember, harmonized chords, 1, 4, 5 are major, everything else is minor. That makes it pretty simple because you've got 1, after the 1, you've got minor, minor. Then you've got your 4 and 5, major, major. Then you've got minor, minor, and back to major. So it's a nice pattern. You know, major, minor, minor, major, minor, minor, back up to major. So it's real simple. Okay, so let's talk about this shape. This shape here, in this position, is a G chord. Okay, let's move this down to a position where it would be a D chord, so we can break it down and see how we form it. Because it looks kind of funky, it looks kind of hard to hold, kind of awkward. It's a very versatile chord, a very versatile shape. So, down here, that's a D chord, right? Here's an open D chord. Alright, so the difference being this chord is what's called a first inversion chord. And the difference is, when we play D in open position down here, a normal chord for the bass note or the bass string of the chord is this open D, right? 4 string. So that means it's the root of the chord, being a D chord, so it's a D, and that's the 1 in the scale, right? Root is 1. So what we're going to do, instead of playing the 1 for that bass string or bass note, we're going to play the 3. So we'll go like this, 1, 2, 3. That's the string we're going to hold down. So it's going to be like this. So how do we shape this or form this shape? We'll bar. Okay, first thing we need to do is do this triad. So that's easy. We bar it here with the index finger, and then we put our middle finger down here on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. So there's our triad, right? Just like we normally do. And then we drop the ring finger down onto this D string, the 4th string, which we said is on the 3, correct? So there you go. There's a first inversion D chord. So it's got the 3 on the bottom instead of the 1. Pretty basic. So you got 1, 2, 3, right? Or D, E, F sharp, right? So let's take this. Now with this chord here, you know, the only D, the only root note in the whole chord is this one right here. You know, so 2nd string, 3rd fret, that is a D. So let's take the shape, let's move it up to an E, okay? There's an E on the 2nd string. We just basically moved it up a whole step. Sorry. So from E to F is a half step. So there's your F, and here's your G. So there you go. So that's how this becomes a G with this shape in this position. So all you have to do, you can move it anywhere you want. Let's go up another whole step. There's an A chord. Right? So it's pretty basic. Let's see, 2nd string, we know on the 12th fret is a B, right? Because it's a B down here in the opening, so it's a B up here. Well, then let's do the shape. So here's a B, right? There you go. So there's the shape. So now what I'm going to do, that same shape, I'm going to pick just these 2 notes out of it. So again, that was our 3, and remember, this is our 1. So, but I'm not going to play them with these 2 fingers. I'm going to play them with these 2. See? Still a G, right? It's a double stop, so I'm going to play them at the same time. So now what we want to do is put this in context of the harmonized chords, right? So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see me move across the fretboard better. So So remember how it went. 1, 4, 5 is major, everything else is minor. So in this position, to make a minor chord, well, you know what we do in a minor, right, is we flatten the third, correct? So if I was going to make G minor, just for reference, this is a G minor. Right? Let's play a G minor chord. We'll play one right up here. Doesn't sound great, but you get the idea. That's a G major, that's a G minor. So we're going to do harmonized chords with these double stops. The 1, 4, 5 being major, everything else is minor. So this is your 1, you simply move up. So that's 1, 2, 3. So you see how that worked? These are minor. And if you think about what chord am I playing right here? It's your G major. That would be an A minor, right? G is the 1, A is the 2. That's A. We move up to B minor. So let me run through them real quick. So it's 1 is major, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major. See how I changed the position back again? 4 major, 5 major, 6 minor, 7 minor, because we don't care about the diminish, and then back up here. So you can tell we just went an octave all the way up, right? Okay, so once again, here's that on our 8th fret B string, that's our root, G. So you see how nice it is? That's how it runs right through. Now I'll descend from here. It's still the same thing. If 1, 4, 5 are major, this is my 1, I'm going to go down now. So the next one will be minor, minor. Actually, we're going to stay, I'm not going to drop all the way down. You get the idea. So this is the kind of cool stuff, right? Sounds sweet. Okay, once you play it, a bunch of times, you're going to get really, really comfortable with it. And when you move really from any key, it's going to become just second nature. And so, because it's really comfortable, I think. Now, well, you'll notice that I do move to those 2 fingers. So whenever I play the major, I tend to use my index and my middle finger. And when I do the minors, I use these. And I'm not sure why I did that, or if it just became kind of a natural progression, but it's okay. So that should help a little bit, right? So 1, right, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major. Okay, so let's take it down to let's do a C chord, right? Well, here's a C. Now, if we're thinking about the shape, right? Because this is all based on that shape. Here's the shape. Back up to G, right? What if I move this? Let me just start moving the shape down, because this is how I know where this shape is for every chord, pretty much on the neck, right? And so, this being a G, well, this must be an A. I just went up a whole step there. Let's see. Sure it is. That's an A. And really the most important thing is just to understand that on the 10th fret B string, That's an A, right? Therefore, see, here's a little added benefit of this shape here. You're kind of get the idea? Okay, let me back out of here. So we're going to do C, right? So we're taking the shape. That's an A. Well, that's a G. All right. Well, what's this? An F. Is that right? It is an F. So this must be an E, right? That's an F. Well, that's an E, of course. And if I go down here, this is a D, right? Kind of where we started earlier. So now if I take it and go a whole step down again, I end up with a, what do I end up with? A C. I'm going to play a regular C chord. And here's our little pieces, like that little double stop. And if we were trying to play this shape, it would be like this, right? There's already a bar there, and it's going to look like this. This is really awkward. You get the idea, right? I'll move it up here to D. Okay, so there's your C, right? I'm going to go back where it's comfortable with these two fingers, my index, just like I did up here with the G, right? That's your C. So we're going to do 1 major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major. It just so happens that G is the 5, F is the 4, in the key of C, right? So what we got? 1 is major, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major, 5 major, 6 minor, 7 minor, and where does this take us? Well, we're an octave all the way up, right? So if this is a C note down here, it's a C up here. So if this is a C, we play that shape, right? We can play that shape if we want. Well, this must be a B, right? B is a half step away from C, half step down. Let's see if that's a B. Sure enough. Okay, so there's a B. So back up to, whoops, there's a B. Sometimes playing this shape, it's a little bit hard to get that note because of the weird way you're barring and stuff. Okay, so back to the C, right? Let's do this again then. Start from here. Now, you'll notice, let me zoom out a little bit. So the way I started out doing this type of double stop with a hybrid picking. So I pick and go back up to G. So I'm hybrid picking. I guess is one of the first things I started with hybrid picking. But after a while, you know, I start using my fingers more and more, and I just... So it's just my thumb, and really I'm just hitting the skin. I'm not even getting any fingernail right now. So the nice thing about playing with just your fingers is if you want to dig in, okay, so you get the idea, right? Let's go back down and do the C again. So we got 1 is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7 minor, right? So now I won't even call them out, but I get familiar with this. If you'll notice, let's go back in a little bit here. If you notice here, when we move from the 1 to the 2, we only move like seemingly like a half a step, right? There's really no room, there's no in-between fret when I go to that 2. But then when I go to the 3, it's a whole step up, right? So the cool thing about, well, let's do it like this again. There's a whole step between these two, right? So then we go back to what, the 4 and the 5. There's a whole step between those as well. And then you notice here, there's really no room again, right? Whole step between those two, and then no room again. We're right back to the C. So the cool thing about those positions, which 2 of them are minor and 2 of them are major, is that you can chromatically, right, pick the one in between. So let me show you. And that should instantly give you a sound of like, well, that's really cool. That sounds like maybe country or so. Pretty cool stuff, right? So let's do it. Let's take all the opportunities to do chromatic, which you probably would be over exaggerated, but we'll just do it. So all the way back at the top, right? Pretty cool stuff, right? So remember the 1, the 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major. So up here with the major, that just sounds sweet. Okay, so you kind of get the idea. Let's play a little bit with an A chord. Remember, with this shape on the B string on the 10th fret, that's an A, right? So the cool thing is, right, it's the same patterns. You see me dropping down where I'm playing. I'm actually playing the 5th string and the 3rd string, but because that's just the bottom. That's back down to an A. But anyway, back up to the top. Pretty sweet, right? So here was with an A, right? Remember the pattern, you just... That's way up there. So that is one shape. Let's go over another shape, which everyone is familiar with. Let's do it in the key of A, since we just did A. So here's a full bar chord, right? Based on the 6th string root, right? Everybody knows this bar chord. So the thing about this bar chord, and I want to point this out actually, is that this is a very common bar chord. This is a very common bar chord. So what did I just do? I just went from a A, and this is a D. That's a D. Try not to play that high E. So here's an A, here's a D. In this bar chord, thinking about the 1s and 3s and 5s that make up a chord. Well, in this case, this pattern repeats. So the pattern, and I will put a graphic up that you'll be able to look at, but it goes, this is your 1, we all know that. This is a 5, is your power chord, right? Just those two notes. So anyway, it goes 1, 5, 1, 3. Sorry, 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. So that's your arpeggio, right? So let me put the fingers back down. 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. So it's 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. So when you see the graphic, you'll see what I mean. Let's take this shape. This is a D, right? And I'm supposed to actually play this in such a way that I'm leaving that open. So it goes 1, 5, 1, 3, 5. So it's just moving this thing down. I can't, in this shape, I get to go 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. So it goes 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, and if there was another string, it would go 3. It just keeps going. When we move to this chord, same thing. 1, what we do? 5, 1, 3. We have the shift in the B string. 1, 5, 1, 3, 5. And we don't have the 1 like we did in the other chord, right? But if I had another string, I would. Now let's look at this D shape, right? We'll do a normal D shape, D chord with playing that D on the 4 string. Normal chord. Guess what? It goes the same way. 1, 5, 1, 3. So these triads always 5, 1, 3, right? Go back to a D, 5, 1, 3, right? 5, 1, 3. So it's very interesting. Now, all right, so the reason that I mentioned that is, so back to this chord. I want to do double stop with a 3 and a 1, but I'm not going to play based on the shape that we were playing before, right, which is kind of an inverted D shape. Okay, so so we're playing this. This is an A, right? So what do we end up with here? Right? This is 3. So, you know, if this was a minor chord, that 3 makes it major, right? Okay, so 3, 3, 5, 1. That means this is a 3 and this is a 1. And in the double stops I like to do, it's always a 3 and a 1. You certainly can do double stops with a 1 and a 5, but you're not really going to get the flavor of the 3, you know. So in a minor chord or in a major chord, the 5 is never going to change. And so anyway, so with the 3 and the 1, remember this other shape. Let's do an A. I had a 3 on the more bassy note, right, on the 4 string, and the 1 was up here. I really kind of have the same thing. Notice it's the same exact thing. 3 and a 1. But it's sonically, you know, it's a little higher pitch, right? So this is a little softer in bass here. This is a little more. Same thing though. Or if I go. Try to get, okay, so, all right. So now we've got, what do we have? We have 2 shapes, 2 different ways of doing double stops, right? So this would be based on the A. So let's take this one all the way up. And we just went up an octave, right? So here's, if you could form this big chord up here. But you know, the point about this is a triad, right? 3, 5, 1. So that is a chord. It comes out of this big old chord, right? But you know, you you probably read and hear people talking about advice when you're playing in a band. You don't want to be stepping on the bass and get all muddy. So what should you do? You could just play, well, that's enough of the chord, or maybe that's enough of the chord. Or maybe I'm doing fills and melodies and with double stops. So there you go, right? So I could do an A like this, or I could do an A like this. Now I had my C, right? There's your C. And where's the C? Here's a C with a six string root, right? So same shape. It's that E shape they say. So there it is right there. Because it's my 3 and that's my 1, right? Based on this. It goes 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, right? So a little triad, or as a double stop. Remember, we had a C that was up here, right? Which is an octave away from down here, so or right here, right? Right? There you go. So it's pretty sweet. So there's 2 ways to do double stops, right? And here's one more double stop. It's actually the first one I learned, and I learned it in key of C, right? So here's a C chord with that bar chord shape. Now let's do those numbers again, right? 1, 5, 1, 3. So right? So 5, 1, 3. Right? 5, 1, 3. So 1 is the C, correct? 5, 1, 3. So on the B string, on this 5th fret, is the 3 of the C chord, which happens to be an E, right? So if I just play these 2 strings, just those 2, that's a nice double stop. So I'll show you. So I'm playing with my fingers, so I tend to, you could do it with a pick, but you kind of need to, sometimes it sounds better to play them simultaneously, right? So I play with the, so this is a C, alright, so let's do the same thing, right? This one's kind of weird, but, and I actually don't prefer it over the other two shapes of double stops, but here we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we just went up an octave. Now notice what I'm doing here. So it is pretty sweet. Okay, so that's 3 different ways to play double stops, and when you play it over and over and over, these shapes, and especially it's more of the patterns really, right? Let's say here's a G. It doesn't really matter what it is. Here's an E. We haven't done that one yet, right? But the B string on that fret, 5th fret, is an E. So I could, if I slow down, I could name all the chords for you, and whether minor or major. But if I just oops, I think I messed that up. Here's your E, right? Okay, so you can figure out where, that's an F, back to E. Alright, you figure out what it is you're wanting to play. Or maybe I want to do some fills, so someone's playing a song in G. And right on that G chord I could go, because here's G, Still playing G, right? It's beautiful, just beautiful. Okay, so let's look at a couple of songs, right? So Margaritaville. So, and I've never learned Margaritaville, the whole song. Actually, all these songs that I'm about to do little pieces of, I've never learned them all the way through. But in the context of double stops, you know, I hear them on the radio and I go, wow, I want to see where that's at. Nice thing about learning them in such a way is that then you can play them in any key that you want, and you know, in 3 different double stop patterns or shapes that you want to do, whatever sounds better with your band, with your mix, to your ear, or whatever. So I think Margaritaville is in D, right? Whatever it goes. So let's, now here's actually another double stop that I actually do not care for much. But in this shape, right, our little triad here, how's that go again? 5, 1, 3, right? 5, 1, 3. So if I just play these two, that's a 1 and a 3. Now I got the 3 on top. The highest note is a 3. And so it's a little bit weird because the distance that you have to, whoops. You get the idea. I just have never really liked it. I find it a little harder to play, and I don't know, just don't care for it much. Plus, I don't care for the adjacent strings. If you think about it, the 2 shapes that I do mostly are skipping a string, right? Like that's a D. Let's see, where's my D? I like this because it's 2 strings apart, right? I mean, it skips a string. So if we do, but it's very high pitched though, so you know, maybe you need that. Okay, so Margaritaville I think goes. Right, so let me try that a little better. So that's it. You know, I mean, it's easy. I mean, I can play it. If I don't like that, here's a D. But maybe that's not high pitched enough, you know. So where else could we do a D? We could. There's a D chord up here, right? We could do that, right? Where's another place we could do it? Here's a D. Right, 5, 1, 5, 1. Whoops, 5, 1, 3. So remember these 2 strings. So that's a D. So we could do. Right, what was that? 4 different ways to play that. Here's a song. I think, you know, I'm not even sure if I'm in the right key, but again, right, it really doesn't matter. Depends on the singer or what you want to play in the band. So Peace Train, right, by Cat Stevens. Whoops. All right, let me try again. So we're doing this in C, by the way. Now in this case, we didn't follow C all the way up. We actually changed chords. So if it was right, so even without me looking at the chords, I know the song in my head. So without looking at a chord sheet. Okay, so anyway, so let's do this. So it moved up to an F, right? Is what happened there. And he actually went to the double stop. And then staying in F. Wait, what am I messing up? Sorry about that phone. Okay, so peace train, right? Very cool, right? And because we know double stops all over the place now, all we have to know is, well, it's in the key of C, or we want to play it in C. So that's what we'll do, right? We'll find it anywhere that makes sense and that we want to play it, that it sounds right. You get the idea. So that's peace train. You might remember a song called Third Rate Romance, right? Fun song from way back when. So that's in the key of A, right? And I've never learned to play that song either. But there's a solo that's made up of double stops, right? Oops, sorry about that. Very cool, right? And then it goes into a, well, it's a little solo that I haven't learned yet. But anyway, the coolest part, or at least for in the context of good double stop example. So here's the root of it is an A, but kind of like with Margaritaville, right? It starts up here. So you could do it any way you want. You could do. So that's cool, right? Peace Train. Sorry, Third Rate Romance. So Brown Eyed Girl, another good one, right? Never learned that song before. Let's see, how's that go? Oh, I'm going blank on this one. Brown Eyed Girl. It's in. We're gonna do this in G, I think. Here we go. It already come back to me as soon as I hit the note. Let's see. Right? So okay, so this is, I think it is in G as well. And then it changes to, what is this chord right here, right? This is a C, so it must be like it. Da 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 da, da 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 da, da da da. Right, so must be G, C, G, D. So anyway, so this is C, right? We're using the other pattern, the G string and the E string, because here we were. This is what's really cool is here's the G, and with the other pattern, the C is right there. It's just C, back to G, and then it goes to the D, right? Da da da. Now listen, so, and I don't know exactly how they play it. Right? Pretty cool, right? Let's see. There's some other double stops. This one is really cool. I think it's based on what's that called? Laredo. Let me try again. Slower. That's pretty sweet, isn't it? So, I'm just playing like this, picking with my thumb and my middle finger. Now this one's a little bit different, right? Because all that is in C, even though I'm pretty sure there was a chord change in the song. So, it doesn't have to move to that other strings, right? Just listen. Da, 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 da. Anyway, it's the way I learned it. Jeez. So you could play around with that. That's pretty cool, right? Now watch this. Damn it. This one's hard. Oh, I'm messing up, right? One more time. There you go, all the way back down to C, right? We started. And so like, what are we actually doing here? Well, that's C. Remember that? It's kind of like, sometimes we see that with Margaritaville or the solo in Third Rate Romance. It goes up to the, if this is the 1, this is a 2 minor, and that's minor, right? So it enables you to go way up here with these other sets of strings, so a much higher pitch. Well, thanks for watching.